Amy Winehouse was a talented and influential singer and songwriter who won multiple awards, including 5 Grammy Awards. She had a distinctive look, with her winged eyeliner and beehive hairstyle that became iconic and influenced fashion trends. She inspired many other female artists, such as Ellie Goulding, Adele, and Lady Gaga. But on July 23, 2011, she died unexpectedly. Was she murdered by her ex-husband Blake Fielder Civil? Or did she die through an accidental alcohol intoxication? Join us to find out. Amy Jade Winehouse was born on September 14, 1983, to a Jewish family in the suburb of Southgate in London, England. Her father, Mitch Winehouse, worked as a cab driver and a window panel installer, while her mother, Janice, was employed as a pharmacist. Amy's parents separated when she was 9 years old, and she lived with her mother, Janice, and visited her father and his girlfriend in Essex on weekends. Her parents' divorce left a deep and long-lasting wound that Amy carried for the rest of her life. In her early years, Winehouse was immersed in music. Her family shared her love of theater and music, and her elder brother Alex introduced her to jazz. After toying around with her brother Alex's guitar, Winehouse bought her own guitar when she was 14. The guitar quickly became one of her favorite instruments and a key accomplice in her songwriting. Due to her love for the arts, her grandmother Cynthia suggested that Amy attend the Susie Earnshaw Theatre School, where she went on Saturdays to further her vocal education and to learn to tap dance. She attended the school for 4 years and founded a short-lived rap group called Sweet and Sour with Juliet Ashby, her childhood friend. But she was later expelled due to her rebellious nature and piercing nose ring. She would later go on to get her first tattoo, a popular cartoon character of a 1930s symbol, Betty Boop, on her lower back. After being expelled, she attended the Mount School, Mill Hill, and the Brit School in Selhurst, Croydon, dropping out at age 16 to pursue her music career. She was one of the first alumni to achieve international fame and recognition, along with Adele, Leona Lewis, Tom Holland, and others. In addition to her talent for music, Amy could read tarot cards. She was taught by her grandmother, Cynthia Winehouse, with whom they were very close. She even had a tattoo on her arm with the name Cynthia, dedicated to her grandmother. At 16, Amy was already performing in clubs and pubs. Her then boyfriend since childhood, with whom they had known each other ever since she was 12, a singer named Tyler James. He was mesmerized by her talent and vocal abilities and passed her demo tape to Nick Godwyn, a talent scout who worked for Simon Fuller's 19 Management. Godwyn was impressed by Winehouse's voice and style and arranged a meeting with her. The move led to Winehouse signing with 19 Management in 2002 when Amy was 19. The management company was owned by Simon Fuller, the man behind American Idol. She was paid £250 a week against her future earnings. This was an affirmation of her musical talent. With this expert backing, Winehouse was signed to record label Island Universal. She released her debut album, Frank, on October 20, 2003, which was influenced by jazz and soul music produced mainly by Salaam Remi and was named after Frank Sinatra. The album featured popular songs like My Bed, Stronger Than Me, and Take the Box. The album received positive reviews and was nominated for the Mercury Music Prize in 2004, as well as 2 Brit Awards for Best Female Solo Artist and Best Urban Act. The album sold over 1 million copies in the UK. Stronger Than Me, the lead single from the album, won the Ivor Novello Award for Best Contemporary Song in 2004. It is a song that criticizes Winehouse's boyfriend for being weak and dependent on her. However, Amy was dissatisfied with the result, claiming that she only considered 80% of the album to be truly hers, and that the label included songs she didn't like. After the release of her first Frank album, Winehouse's focus shifted to the girl groups of the 1950s and 1960s. Winehouse hired New York singer Sharon Jones's longtime band, the Dap-Kings, to back her up in the studio and on tour. Amy Winehouse's fashion also started to change. She adopted a more retro and rockabilly style, inspired by the 1960s and her musical influences. She began to wear her signature beehive hairstyle, thick-winged eyeliner, tight dresses and skirts, ballet flats and tattoos. Winehouse released her follow-up album, Back to Black, in 2006, which was her second and final album. It went on to become an international success and one of the best-selling albums in UK history. At the 2007 Brit Awards, it was nominated for British Album of the Year, and she received the award for British Female Solo Artist. The song Rehab won her a second Ivor Novello Award. At the 50th Grammy Awards in 2008, she won 5 awards, tying the then record for the most wins by a female artist in a single night and becoming the first British woman to win 5 Grammys. They included the Best Pop Vocal Album for Back to Black, Best Female Pop Vocal Performance for Rehab, Best New Artist, Song of the Year, and Record of the Year for Rehab. Amy Winehouse left her first label, 19 Management, in 2006 after releasing her second album, Back to Black. She was unhappy with the way the label handled her career and wanted more creative control over her music. She also had a falling out with Simon Fuller, the founder of 19 Entertainment, who reportedly tried to make her go to rehab. She then founded her label, Lioness Records, in 2009 with the help of her father, Mitchell Winehouse. The first act on her label was her goddaughter, Dionne Bromfield, who was also a singer. She was working on her third album before her death, but it was never completed. During this time, Winehouse began developing a reputation as an unstable party girl, often showing up to her club or TV performances too drunk to sing a whole set. Her drug use worsened when she started abusing heroin and crack cocaine. In November 2007, fans booed and walked out on Winehouse on the first night of her UK tour after she stumbled and cried her way through a concert. She later cancelled shows for the remainder of the year. At Festival in 2008, she arrived on stage an hour late and sang only 5 songs before leaving. She also punched a fan who tried to touch her hair. Her drug use escalated following the advice of her record label, management, family, and doctors. She checked into rehab in 2008 after a video of her allegedly smoking crack cocaine was published on the internet. She stayed there for 2 weeks before leaving to prepare for the Grammy Awards for her album, Back to Black. After being diagnosed with emphysema and her lungs having been damaged by smoking crack cocaine and cigarettes, Amy quit doing hard drugs in 2008, but alcohol became her constant companion. Her alcohol consumption was so bad that she left the stage in the middle of a performance in St. Lucia in early 2009, unable to remember lyrics and, in her own words, bored. She also started a tumultuous relationship with music video assistant Blake Fielder-Civil, who admitted to introducing Winehouse to hard drugs. Fielder-Civil was a charming young production assistant when he first met Winehouse at a Camden bar in London in 2005. They immediately fell in love. She had released her debut album 2 years earlier, and her tumultuous relationship with Fielder-Civil reportedly inspired her follow-up album, Back to Black, within a year. She married Fielder-Civil on May 18, 2007 in Miami Beach, Florida. Their shared addictions spawned an increasingly dangerous codependence that led to highly publicized arrests, assaults, and infidelities. Fielder-Civil said his influence on Amy was exaggerated and that his father-in-law, Mitch Winehouse, wanted him out. Blake Fielder-Civil said that he and Winehouse only got divorced in 2009 to satisfy her father and silence the tabloids. Blake Fielder-Civil continued using drugs and nearly overdosed in 2012. That, to him, was a wake-up call, and he's reportedly remained clean since and married a woman named Sarah Aspin. Amy Winehouse's last moments were both tragic and heartbreaking. In 2011, in what would tragically be her last year, Winehouse kicked off the year by performing at the Summer Soul Festival in Sao Paulo, Brazil, her first full live show since 2008. On January 16, 2011, after her last of 5 shows in Brazil, she told her dad she hadn't had alcohol in more than 2 weeks. One morning in February, Mitch went to his daughter's house to find she'd already had multiple drinks that day. But still, he felt, her bad days seemed to be growing fewer and further between. Later that February, during a concert in Dubai, she was booed by the audience who thought she was drunk. She slurred her words, forgot her lyrics, and left the stage several times. In March 2011, Winehouse cut herself again, about a week after Fielder-Civil was arrested on charges of burglary and firearm possession. He was sentenced in June to 32 months in prison. She also returned to the studio that month to cut a cover of Body and Soul for Bennett's Duets 2 album, which turned out to be her last recording. She went back to the hospital in April to be treated for detox complications, and she finished the month trying to stick to her program. Then she was readmitted to the London clinic on May 11th, and her blood test showed high levels of potassium and glucose, which the doctor warned could lead to heart problems. She was back to drinking on May 24th. In June 2011, in Belgrade, during her European tour, Amy did a show in what would be her last performance before her death. She was visibly intoxicated and unable to sing properly. She was jeered by the crowd of 20,000 people. It was reported that she was unable to remember the city she was in, the lyrics of her songs, or the names of the members of her band. The local press also claimed that Winehouse was forced to perform by her bodyguards, who did not allow her to leave the stage when she tried to do so. Her team cancelled the rest of her scheduled gigs, and she returned to London on June 22nd. She had relapsed in Belgrade and again told her dad she really wanted to stop drinking. As much as Mitch could tell, Winehouse stopped drinking for the rest of June, and when he saw her on July 10th and 14, she was sober and in good spirits. On July 20th, she went to the iTunes Festival at the Roundhouse in Camden to see her friend and protege, Dionne Bromfield, the first artist signed to Winehouse's Lioness label. She ended up on stage, dancing. Months later, Mitch's manager told him that he'd seen Amy at the show, and that she'd gone up to him, patted him on the stomach, and said, "Look after my dad." Mitch Winehouse last saw his daughter on July 21st, 2011. He was flying to New York the next day, but she insisted he come over to look at some family photographs she'd unearthed. He noticed nothing unusual with Amy. He even later admitted that on that day she was in high spirits. On the night of July 22nd, a day before her death, she was tipsy. Her security guard, Andrew Morris, recalled, but she was singing and playing drums in her room. When Andrew checked on her at 10 a.m. on July 23rd, she appeared to be sleeping. 5 hours later, at 3:30 p.m., Andrew was concerned about why Amy hadn't woken up. He returned to her bedroom to check up on her. She hadn't moved into the position he had left her in the morning. Sensing that something was unusual, Andrew resorted to checking on her pulse. That's when he noticed that Amy was not breathing. He immediately called emergency services, and when the paramedics arrived, she was pronounced dead on the scene. An inquest after her death heard she was more than 5 times the drink-drive limit. 3 empty vodka bottles, 2 large and 1 small, were found at her flat, St. Pancras Coroner's Court heard. The inquest heard that the singer had 416 milligrams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood. The legal drink-drive limit is 80 milligrams. The examination found Winehouse's vital organs had been in good health, but she had huge amounts of alcohol in her system, which could have stopped her breathing and sent her into a coma. Toxicology tests showed there were no illegal substances in her system when she died. Her doctor, Dr. Christina Ramette, who had been treating the star for several years, said the night before her death, the singer told her she did not know if she was going to stop drinking, but she did not want to die. After the inquest, Winehouse's family issued a statement thanking people for their messages of support. They said it was some relief to finally find out what happened to Amy. Their statement added, "We understand there was alcohol in her system when she passed away. It is likely a buildup of alcohol in her system over several days. While Amy is no longer with us, Winehouse's legacy lives on through her music, which has inspired many artists and fans around the world." She was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2023, becoming the first British female solo artist to receive the honor.